Ever since this whole quarantine started, I've found myself with a lot of time to kill, and I've been spending much of that time watching fuck tons of anime, as if I didn't already do enough of that. Recently, I finished the show Parasyte the Maximum. I don't know why I finished it, considering it was pretty bad. I guess because I hadn't finished the bag of potato chips that's roughly half the size of my body until episode 8 had rolled around, and I thought, fuck it, may as well finish this before promptly putting the rest of the show on 2x speed. And now I'm making a video about it, so I won't feel like all that time was a complete waste. This show seemed right up my alley. I had heard that it tackles some interesting philosophical ideas about humanity. It was adapted by Studio Madhouse, who had a pretty good showing for themselves in the 2010s, being the studio behind High School of the Dead, Hunter x Hunter, No Game No Life, and One Punch Man, so I was at least expecting some solid visuals. And best of all, it looked weird as fuck! And it seemed like the show was gonna deliver on all of this for the first 3 minutes. We get a cold open on a guy who has been taken over by a parasite literally biting off the head of his wife. Awesome. One mediocre OP later, we learn that the main character guy has an irrational fear of bugs. Cool. Then we see the monster from earlier mimic human speech, morph its face into a different person, and walk off to eat the guy's daughter, establishing how terrifying and dangerous the parasites can be. Also awesome. And then it happens. Janky CGI walking animations. Okay, I can get past this. As retarded as it looks, it doesn't affect the actual intellectual intrigue which I'm hoping to get out of this show. Oh, for fuck's sake! I'm not sure I've ever seen a show that got me so genuinely excited to watch it, only to be blindsided so hard by tropey anime bullshit. Oh, but he only grabbed her tit because the parasite moved his hand. I don't give a fuck because he still ends up grabbing her tit. And in hindsight, it's not like this moment was valuable in any way for establishing this guy's relationship with the parasite in his hand, because they do it way more effectively later on when there's a scene where he's in the bathroom and the parasite starts jerking him off, and it was actually kind of funny, which I cannot say for possibly the single most overused anime trope in existence. So immediately sirens are blaring in my head, and yet I'm still barely interested enough in where the whole parasite thing is going to keep watching, very begrudgingly. I would go on to have this exact same experience innumerable times throughout the course of watching this show. Parasyte has this bizarre disconnect between its good and bad elements to the point where it feels like it's trying to be two completely different shows made for two completely different people when it switches from one to the other. One minute I'm watching parasites talk to Shinichi about how they're experimenting with sustaining themselves off human food or trying to see if they have the capacity to reproduce or something. And the next I'm watching this bitch tell Shinichi that recently he's felt like a completely different person for like the 5th time. When that psychic girl Kana was introduced and they started playing up this whole love triangle which is perpetuated solely by miscommunications and retarded teenager logic, I asked myself, am I supposed to care about this girl? Am I actually supposed to think that this girl has any shot in the world at ending up with the main character? Because anime has conditioned me to know that when the main character accidentally sexually assaults a girl, they may as well be boot clamped together because they are guaranteed romantic endgame. Real healthy message, everyone. Good job. Holy shit, Kana died? Oh man, if only I gave a single fuck about this character. Kana literally has recurring dreams of Shinichi being her knight in shining armor who saves her from the parasites. This show's romance is the shit that people who don't watch anime make fun of anime for. I mean, I know it's commonplace in anime for every female character to want to suck the main guy's dick off because he's nice and mysterious, but when you have an entire character who's devoted to saying, "Wow, Satomi, don't you think Shinichi is totally cute?" it becomes unbearable. Why give the main girl any reason to like the main guy when we can just say that she loves him instead? What's that fundamental rule of storytelling? Tell, don't show? Yeah, that's the one. This is why nice guys exist. This implication that if you're just a shy, awkward, mysterious guy, every girl in the room will be magnetized to your dick like a moth to a lamp. That's not how it works. Go watch Mob Psycho 100. Now, I know that the romance isn't what most people probably came to this show for, or at least I hope that's not the case. Most people who watched Parasyte probably did so because they found it intellectually intellectually stimulating. And I actually completely understand this. Many of the reviews and analyses of this show on YouTube praise it for the interesting questions it raises about whether or not humans are destroying the Earth and if we might actually be the real parasites. Personally, I think the show could have done more than it did in exploring these themes, but I don't want to sound like I think I'm hashtag deeper than everyone else, and I don't even disagree with the reasoning that many of these videos use. However, all of these YouTube videos encapsulate the message and themes of Parasyte in as much, if not more depth than Parasyte in 10 to 15 minutes, whereas Parasyte took 24 episodes. I watched most of it on 2x speed and I still thought it was going at a snail's pace. Characters are constantly just thinking to themselves about advancing the plot and then not actually doing so for another episode, or just straight up saying the themes of the show.
Subtlety, what's that?
It's so uninteresting. It's so uninteresting. I want to die. The only two characters that I liked and found thought-provoking were Shinichi and Reiko Tamura, the parasite who got herself pregnant. Also, I guess Migi, but he's just a watered-down version of Reiko. Why is this, you might ask? It's because Shinichi and Reiko are the only two characters who experience some of what it's like to be the opposite species. Shinichi's parasite Migi saves his life at one point by basically rebuilding his heart in a scene that was actually pretty cool, not gonna lie. And following this, Shinichi becomes less and less emotional and more logical, just like the parasites. Reiko Tamura, after having a child with the intent of experimenting on it, finds herself developing some maternal attachment to it and general emotions along with it. The whole thing plays around with the idea of whether we would be a better race with emotions, without them, or somewhere in the middle, which is a pretty interesting concept that I've found myself pondering on multiple occasions. Again, I don't feel like the show said that much about these themes for its runtime, but whatever. It's just lacking in substance in virtually every area. It's bad. Also, they just like completely fucking forgot about the whole pulling out the person's hair to see if they're a parasite at one point and just used this guy who says he can tell who's a parasite and who isn't because he killed a bunch of people before. And like, they just immediately gun down anyone this guy says is a parasite with no question. Like, what the fuck? Just pull out their hair. That moment when the girl pulls out the parasite's hair and he just goes, "This is awkward," was really funny. Alright, I'm done now. If you enjoyed this video, consider dropping a like and checking out the rest of my channel for more content like this. If you want to see more from me, remember to subscribe and hit the bell icon to get notified of when I upload in the future. Have a wonderful day, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
私が後ろから来てるの分かってたんでしょ？
いや、全然。これは何かの間違いというか、なんというか、その。